So for this project, I wanted to work with Anthony um, in a different sense, whereas the time before, I was just focusing on kind of establishing a baseline. I hadn't really worked with Anthony before on a homework project. I had done budgeting with him, but I still wanted to just make sure we could get that first element of remembering down when I worked with him. And this time I felt like I was able to actually make more of a step forward. I wouldn't say doing any, we were doing a step backwards. I would just say that we were right where we needed to be and focusing on that first project on areas that he was familiar with, areas of schema, and just orienting the discussion towards things that he was familiar with, and then filling out the prompts for the last PowerPoint we did. That I felt was a good baseline, like to at least start there, to have some experience doing a PowerPoint before. I'm really happy that Anthony didn't drag his feet and he had a good perspective going into the way that we did this second PowerPoint. I wanted him to apply himself a little bit more. I believe he can create. That being said, I don't think he does, and he will. I think he has the ability and the talent, but I think he will also ask me for help. I think he wants guidance, and he's smart enough to get work done, but he does like to feel guided in his work. So that being said, it was really cool this time. Um, my goal was, like I said, to get him beyond just, okay, well, what are you familiar with? Get him to actually start applying himself a little bit more. So I did that by actually more of a hands-off approach. I said, and I really appreciated that the PowerPoints have really good prompts and questions, just like the PowerPoints before. I think they're really good questions and that his teachers know what they're doing. It was actually kind of like a godsend, because, like I said, I was trying to get him to apply himself a little bit more. Um, I actually told him, like, you write this, um, the response to the prompt on the PowerPoint yourself, and I'll come back and I'll fix it for you. And I said to him, because we had done, the campus, I can't remember what it was called, but where he had to learn all the names of the buildings, the checklists. And I realized that he would just read the names of the buildings. I said to him, I was like, hey, buddy, I know you can read, so why don't you go in there and read and then write your responses? And what I'll do is, if it's wrong, I'll fix the spelling for you. And he said, I'm not good at spelling and I'm not good at reading, throughout the argument that we had at first. Like, I can't read. So that was the first response. Second one was, I'm not good at spelling. Well, luckily the question was, what are you not good at? And so I told him, you know what, hey, go ahead and put those things down, that you're not good at reading and you're not good at spelling. And then the idea behind that was something that me and my friend used to talk about whenever we were involved in a lot of work that was really stressful. We would call it the big mo. And it was basically, as soon as you got any momentum, it was like game over, and the stress went away. And one of my tutors when I was in high school, I kind of realized that I had heard this at some point or another. I can't remember where it came from, but it was the idea that you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. And too often, like, people just like won't get any momentum in their work. So I came back, and much to my surprise, I found that he had spelled everything correctly, and I was really happy. He did this consistently, where he was generating his own ideas and his own writing, and I actually left some of the incorrections in his spelling there, because I really was just happy that it was his own work that he had created and written up. Unfortunately, it was due that night, the work that we had. So 11 slides. So about the first half was all him, and then the second half he was exhausted. I came back in and he was on his bed sleeping. So I started to really motivate him and work with him, because we had 11 slides and it was due at 12. And he was in a car accident earlier that day. And his computer wasn't working. It wasn't like he wasn't motivated, but he was having computer issues earlier in the week. It was working that day. So I kind of helped him, throughout finishing that last bit of the assignment. And yeah, I I'm really glad he responded well. That's it.